Hello, my name is Teresita Blanco de su sister, and we're continuing with Saturnastra Lamina. This is chapter 2, Your Paris. The months roll lazily by in your cemetery, and the only time when you are not there is when you visit the forest in search of the river. You go there to bathe and feed on blueberries. You do not need to eat, for you do not feel the hunger in your new form. However, you do love those tasty berries, and they stain your mouth while your lips look a ghastly blue. After bathing, you must lay on the rocks with your wings stretched out, and you cannot fly with wet wings. At least you think you cannot fly, and you have never bothered to try. And if you linger too much, the batchmaker comes to find you, and the dead have an uncanny sense of direction, and with a strong enough will, they can find their way to anyone they seek. It is a good thing he has left his family in peace, and he almost seems to have forgotten about the resistance. And with his initial rage dissipated, the batchmaker lost his corporeal revenant form, and he degraded to just a regular specter, which is a pity. He would have been more useful to you if he had some physicality. And today you return from your bath the same day as the other day, and you speak to the Sphynx statue with a vague hope that it will one day talk back. And your conversation gets interrupted by the bleating of a goat. The goat has never seen something like you and does not know how to react. Eventually your human face convinces the goat that you are human. And the goat starts idly eating grass in the cemetery as well as the natural flowers that bloom there. And some of the children start waking up, sensing that something new has entered their green home. Their ghostly presence starts making the goat nervous, and animals hate dead humans for some reason or another. And you gather some grass and hold it close to the goat's face, and when it draws close enough, you pet his head. And in response, the goat raises itself to head bash you, and you offer him your head in kind, and the animal will never be strong enough to make a dent in you, though you still find his hostility annoyingly hilarious. And once the goat finally gets used to you, it goes back to eating grass. And after watching the goat eat a bit, you lazily lay down beside your stony companion. A faint breeze carries the scent of a human into your nostrils, and you sense that the goat's owner is currently looking for it, and you decide to play a prank on the owner, so you sit still as a stone, and you even match the blank stare and pose of your Sphynx companion. After 5 hours of waiting, you start to get annoyed or bored. One of the fairies comes and whispers in your ear, so when it's coming, just hold still a little longer. And like the little fairy had said, a little tan boy came into the cemetery, and he was barefoot, and his red garments were tucked into his belt to let more air circulate, and the wide sleeves of his undershirt were rolled up, and the water skin tied to his belt, his staff and flute. And you imagine that the lad is 5 years old, but he's in fact 8. He's a bit short as a result of malnutrition and the stress of having to take care of the wild animals. And the boy has greasy black hair and a stupid-looking haircut, and you imagine that his hair was cut using the aid of a soup bowl. Like a bowl of soup. The kid had one eye hazel and the other brown, and one had to be pretty observant to notice that there was an actual difference, and the fairy guidance system informs you that the boy is a chimera. You try to listen to the information provided by your dear father's Artsy, but you fail to grasp what it means to be a human chimera. In the end, you decide to ignore the information altogether, and you focus on the fact that, genetically speaking, the boy is not normal, with his 2 different blood types and eye color. Your train of thought is disrupted by the boy coming closer to take his goat, and you purposely compel the goat to be near you to force the kid to come closer, and his naivete fails to find any suspicion, and after getting his goat, he stops and stares at you, and he then looks at your fellow Sphynx companion, and he's almost half tempted to touch your leg, but he stops when he feels an icy chill emanating from your skin. And the chill then starts emanating all around you, and he stares at the graveyard and imagines he's seeing a ghost. And he flees scared, but has enough common sense to take his goat with him. When he has gone to a safe distance, you take on a new skin, and in this new skin you take the form of a woman wearing white robes wrapped in a lioness belt, and blonde hair with golden feathers mixed in. And you throw the boy back to his flock, and in his absence about a dozen of his goats were stolen, and 2 were mauled by wolves. And the boy lingers for a bit, dumbfounded after realizing his mistake, and he should have abandoned his lost gold and stayed with the other. And he also remembered that the last time he lost one, he had gotten a serious beating, and with so many gone now, he started to wonder if his father would not kill him this time. You tell him, if your father's going to be mad regardless of what you do, you should sell the goats and run away. The startled boy turned around when he saw you, and he took a bit of a distance to stare at you from head to toe. And since you purposely put it on a pretty face, he felt more at ease. Humans always stupidly feel safe in the presence of those they perceive as beautiful. Who are you that you speak to me so? Said the boy in a trembling voice. I am Aphrodite, and you are Paris. So you tell the boy, fully aware that he would not get the reference. Not understanding, he asked, are you the one who stole my goats? Pray to tell me, why would I do that? You tell him, chuckling. Because that's what witches do, he said timidly. Ha! I couldn't cast a spell to save my own life. Though your instinct is right to sense the magic that grows within my bosom, you say, pointing to your chest. I don't understand what you're saying, Miss Witch, he said, folding his arm. And he was starting to grow more confident as he saw me rooted in the same place I was. No, I did not take your goals. A fairy lands on your shoulder and informs you of the location, and you then add, your goals were taken by your elder brother, and he wants to sell them without your father's permission. The boy grows pale and sits down on the ground for a moment, and his breathing becomes raspy, and he suddenly comes down and then says in a stern voice, I see, so that's how it is. Something about his change in behavior makes you smile, and for the first time you see it, yes, he can be of use to you. And you then say, why bother staying with your family that does not love you? You can become something great if you have a mind to do so. Like a king, he asked, looking up. A king? Why? What is a king, really? And do you think the Lords follow Bersamet because he was born into royalty? No, he came into this world with greatness, and the rest of the vermin only bask in his shadow. No, you could become something bigger than a king, you say, bowing before him, to look at him in the eye. Ha, I don't understand what you're saying, he said, smiling timidly, and he asks, but I do like this little game of yours, crazy person. Is it that obvious you are sitting down? You spend the rest of the afternoon speaking with the boy, and you find out that his name is not Paris, but Irving Sherman. You hate that the name the second person he pronounced it, Irving. That is not a good name for a supporting character, let alone someone you plan to turn into a mage. Still, you have heard worse, and as you expect, when Irving comes home, his father almost kills him, and he spends bedridden about a week. And he should have stayed in bed for 2 months, however, his father did not care. He sent his son out with a ghost anyway. Irving's father was always mean to his younger son because he suspected he was not his own kid. And it was partially true for reasons you will not care to discuss, and needless to say, your little Irving was an aberrant, a chimera that made him sufficiently interesting to warrant your attention. With this new placing, you divide your attention between tending to the cemetery and keeping an eye on Irving. And due to your attention, Irving stopped losing goats, and you slowly developed something that could be called a friendship. And he quickly started to become more outspoken and happy, even and much to his father's annoyance. And his vocabulary expanded thanks to your ramblings. And he was still reluctant to the idea of becoming a mage. And he was at least open to learning how to read and write, and he mastered this rudimentary skill in less than 6 months. And one day, Irving's brother was passing by when he took notice of you. And you remember that this particular brother is called Darby. He was a name with a fondness for gambling and pickpocketing, and he also thought himself a womanizer, though he rarely found a willing partner. And if he provoked you, there was a good chance Irving would find himself without a brother. And by now, Irving suspected that you were not human, and he was also stuck in the belief that you weren't a witch. And knowing his brother well, he told me before his brother looked in our direction, you should leave, please. Why, don't you want to see a dead body, you say, smiling. I don't want my brother killed in front of me, said Irving, alarmed. And by now Darby had already done his salutation and was drawing closer, and you tell Irving, but you do want him to die, and I can lure him away, and you will never have to see or hear from him again. You should not kill people, it's wrong, said Irving. What a bother, you say. And when Darby arrives to speak with Irving, he seems unaware of your presence, and after he leaves, Irving asks, And why wasn't he able to see you? Did you cast a spell on him? Not really. It might have something to do with the charm he wears to protect him from magic, you add. My clothing are magical by nature, and I thought the charm saw me as a danger and made me invisible to him. But can you still harm him without magic? Asked Irving, disappointed. Certainly, if that is your true desire, you say, smiling. No, I don't want you to hurt him. Irving yelled at you, shaking his fist. And you dropped the subject altogether for the rest of the day, and Irving seemed a bit pensive and distant, and he went home that night and forgot to pretend not to know how to read, and his father was furious because he thought his son had neglected his flock in order to visit the local grammar school. You decide to visit Irving that night for one last pep talk, and you take on the size of a fairy and land on his forehead, and the feathery breeze gather around you in the middle of the night, and Irving awakes and finally notices them, and you tell him, I came to say goodbye. And where are you going? He asked sadly. I'm going back to my cemetery, and I don't need a boring, spineless child like you. And I can see you because I came to see you because I thought you were different, and alas, I overestimated you. And so good day and good luck, and I hope you enjoy being nothing more than a boring peasant, you say as you pretend to fly away. Lamina, wait, don't leave me alone. I will do whatever you want, honest, he says, sitting up on his bed, and his mother, who was sleeping beside him, tells him to be quiet. You stop and smile, and you tell him, I cannot be with someone who has such low will to live. Not only that, but there are times that you wish you never existed. And to make matters worse, you do not even want to entertain the possibility that things could remotely get any better. I'm just a kid. I have to do what my parents say, and I don't have any other choice in the matter, Irving says, sitting down in his cot. That is what they want you to think, you said, pointing to his parents, and from the moment you were born, they were always told you have to do this, you have to do that, and human parents see that children must debase themselves simply because they were brought into this world, and for what? Just to suffer, to toil away in misery for their sake. I came here out of my own free will, and my parents neither expect nor demand anything from me, though they appreciate the effort I put on my own volition, and that is how it should be. At least they did not abandon me, says Irving, trying to defend his parents, only because you were useful to them as another extra pair of hands to work the farm. And I speak only of my father, and your mother does care for you, but not enough to decapitate your bastard of a father, you say vehemently. Is killing the answer to all your problems? Asked Irving, narrowing his eyes. Not really. I am not one who goes about killing on a whim, and I simply think that those who strike children deserve to die, and the only reason I haven't done so already was out of respect for your wishes, you add, and I will leave you alone for now. And why did you speak to me that time? And if you weren't planning on helping me, and why didn't you leave me alone? He asked, resting in his back against the wall. You hover close to him to look at him in the eye, and you tell him, I was looking for my better half, a helper to share this dreadful burden I carry, and I thought that you could be the one, and we are both the same age, and you are also like a mirror while I am a Sphynx, and it seems like the perfect combination, but alas, you do not have the character I desire, and it would be pointless to try to change you. I don't understand you, but I can change, I can become better, and please do not leave me, you are the only friend I ever had, Irving begs. Humans only change for the worse, and I have never known one that changes for the better, you say before departing, and Irving cries at night in a vague attempt to lure you back, and sleep eventually overcomes him, and you do fall asleep waiting for something interesting to happen, and in your dream you see three maidens flying over Irving's sleeping form, and they have ghastly faces, and they slowly merge and converge to become an even greater monster. And behind Irving you see a little girl whose back is turned to you, and you walk closer to her, and you notice the violet flowers around her, and the closer to her you are, and those closer to her are putrefied. And I ask her, and do you want to leave this farm and see the world? I don't care about the world and what it has to offer, and I like looking after ghosts, said the girl, not turning around. You don't have to give that up. The thing about sheep herding is that you can do it wherever there's grass nearby, you say, and the figure of the girl ripples like water, and it turns around, and her face is black as night, and only her amber eyes are clearly visible. You give the boy some time to consider your offer, and more than 2 months pass before he goes to seek you in the graveyard, and he would have come sooner, however you left him no clue as to your whereabouts, and in retrospect you should have thought of things a little better. And from time to time you will go see how he was doing, and And you would also lure away the wolves and other bandits that would harm you, little Irving, and much to your annoyance, the little chimera was growing on you. And what you thought about him gave him plenty to think about, and one day he visited the grammar school and asked about what a chimera was. And he was not pleased to see the description of a composite monster. And he also looked through some books to find out about Sphynxes, and their library only offered tips on how to kill them. And in the end, he convinced himself that he was not human, and it made his decision to leave his family a lot easier. And when he finally decided to come see me, you made his favorite goat wander away. And the goat leads him to the cemetery, and he recognizes my face in the steel and moving statue of your silent companion. Your dear Bashmago rises to his grave away from Irving's line of sight, and he does it in order not to betray his current disposition, and he tells Irving, "Good evening, son, and what are you looking for in this remote desolate cemetery?" "Oh, who are you?" Irving asks. "I am the groundskeeper of the cemetery, and attend to the cemetery to make certain that the grass does not cover up the graves," explained the Bashmago. Chuckling, Irving says, "You certainly have not been doing your job properly." "Sadly, I am new here, and there remains plenty of work to be done," says the Bashmago asks. "And have you come to see Lamina?" "Yes, where is she?" asks Irving. "She is, how should I put it, indisposed," says the Bashmago, unable to put it into words, my current predicament. "Is there anything I can do to help?" Irving asks. "Are you now?" "I hardly doubt it, and more importantly, have you decided what you want to do with your life?" asked the Bashmago. "I'm just a kid, I don't really know anything about the world or what I want, and Lamina wants me to become a mage. So I will do so to make her stay with me, and she's the first person who has ever been so nice to me, who has treated me like I matter," said Irving. "You are quite frank, and have you always been so outspoken in the presence of your elder?" asked the Bashmago, smiling. "Oh, that seems to Lamina, and she says that age does not really matter," answered Irving. "Indeed, our little Lamina has plenty of absurd notions, and she would even dare argue that a child knows exactly what he wants and should be free to pursue it. And another matter, if magic is not your calling, if you do not wish to bend the beasts and elements and stars to your will, indeed, if you do not wish to make all of your dreams come true and your very nightmare something real, something you can touch and hold, you should just return to your farm to continue your boring, mundane existence," said the Bashmago. Before Irving had a chance to answer, you returned to that place, and alarmed Bashmago asked, "What's the matter? You look very pale." Nothing's the matter. Nothing at all," you answered. And the way you said it, this makes Bashmago look sad, and he forgets the Koran and returns to his grave in the presence of Irving, and Irving is too dumbfounded by your Sphynx form to pay attention to the Bashmago's mysterious disappearance. And after catching up with Irving, you both sit down to eat a meal in the graveyard, and Irving has some cheese and some bread his mother had given him for lunch, and he offers you some, but you respectfully decline, and there was hardly enough food for one, let alone two people. And the goat sits down beside Irving and rests his head in his lap, and the goat was more of a kid, roughly 6 months old, and he had a nice brown coat and white ears, and his eyes too were the color of amber. "So you're serious about learning magic? And don't do it for me, do it for yourself, and on this path I cannot help you. At most, I can only serve as a guide," you warned Irving. "Yes, I want to learn magic," affirms Irving. "And do you know where I can go learn it?" The fairies gather around him, and to Irving they appear as regular butterflies and moths of different colors and sizes, and he's still enchanted by the sight of those butterflies, and a gorgeous moon moth informs you of the magic situation of the world, and he then proceeds to give a brief version of what she rambled. There are 4 schools of magic in this world, and the first one is run by nomads, and they specialize in theater magic and necromancy, and the theater magic is more for fun, like summoning a rabbit out of your hat. And as for the necromancy, it is used to control the dead, and the second school can be found in the Tower of Suberus. And the mages here practice war magic and demonology, and war magic involves using magic in battle, like shooting fireballs or something cool. And the elven school primarily relies on channeling or using gods or demons as a primary source of magic. And the schools of the capital focuses on practical magic, hexes and curses and all that garbage, quick cast and all the like. It is extremely weak in comparison to the magic used in the other schools, I explained. And Irving forces that and thinks about, and he thinks he has heard about the wandering nomads, and he remembers that the elves hate humans, and he had also heard ill rumors about the foul-tempered people living in the capital of Veragerium. And in the end, he asked, which one is closer to where I live? That will be the Tower of Suberus, and it's just 2,000 kilometers from here, and on horseback we will be there in 30 days, weather permitting. And if you decide to watch, which I'm highly opposed to, we'll make it twice as long, and it depends on how quickly you want to get there, you finish explaining. The tower it is, and still, couldn't you fly me there, suggested Irving. Not really. My wings are only strong enough to carry me. And no one else. You say this more as an excuse. And Irving innocently believes you, and the following days are spent making arrangements for the trips. And you make a sort of shelter for Irving in the decrepit town, and he proceeds to take from his own flock his favorite goat and his mother, and before leaving, he leaves a payment of the sum of postcodes in the writing desk of his father. Alright, so this is the end of chapter 2. We're gonna go on a journey than the next one. And I hope you have fun with me reading Saturnastra Lamina. Bye bye and God bless.